Welcome, SEMA. You know, in the booth this week, it's incredible because this is the last day of SEMA 2014, and here comes walking in. I've had some great people, but none greater than the man that I've got sitting by my side for a couple reasons. A, he's a friend, and then B, he's just an absolute legend within detailing. So Mike Phillips with AutoGeek, welcome, buddy.
Hey, thank you so much, Renny.
How's the show been, 2014 been for you?
The show itself has been just out of this world. The numbers are to the top. It's the biggest SEMA show that we've ever had in the history of SEMA. So the booths are busy, all the vendors are happy, everybody's having a good time.
You know, we've been around the detailing industry a long time, and you probably, like me, remember the days when we come to SEMA and there wasn't too many detailers. It was pretty low. We talked to manufacturers and wholesalers and all this, and it's been incredible to watch the change, hasn't it?
I think the internet is actually what's really brought the detailing world into SEMA, just because the education that gets out there, and then the ability to communicate back and forth and to get to know each other and our relationships with the industry. So I think it's the internet, discussion forums, things like Facebook, that have really helped to bring the detailing side of the automotive industry into the SEMA world.
So Mike, not only are you're one of those guys, I got a lot of passion for detailing. When I look at you, there's not too many guys that I would look at and say, you know what, I think that guy's passion maybe trumps mine, but I think you're one of them. That you may just be one of the few that actually goes over the top. And one of the things that we're both passionate about is not just putting the shine on a car, but seeing other people succeed within detailing. And that's a big part of what you do too, isn't it?
Yeah, I always tell people I have two passions in life. One is I love making things shiny just like you. So something like this, you know, putting the ultimate shine on a show car so it really has the presence it deserves. But the other passion I have is to show other people how to do this. And there's a lot of reasons for that. One is just to help them to get to where they want to be, especially if they're doing it for profit, to make money so they're not just chasing dollars. But the other reason is because clear coat finishes are thin to start with, and custom paint jobs are a little bit different. But you don't really have a lot of room for error, so you want to do it right the first time, and that comes down to good products, good pads, good tools, and head knowledge. So you need to know what you're doing when you get into the arena and you're starting to do your work.
Well, and with that also is, you know, you're one of the pillars within detailing. Detailing changed, again, to your point, the internet really changed the way that detailing was happening. Jim Gogan, you know Jim real well, good friend of ours.
Love Jim.
Jim was saying last night, we're talking, and he says, you know, every couple of years, detailing completely changes. It evolves and it completely just jumps forward. Where the last, you could go back to the 90s, and it hadn't changed in 15 years.
Longer than that, yeah. No, again, just being able to communicate and spread information has really elevated the industry, and mostly through education. The biggest thing I've seen happen is the change, to me, is the change in abrasive technology. Because we can go back in the day when we first started out, and it's like my good friend Joe Fernandez once said, it used to be you had to have some skill, some talent, some experience to make a car look good because the products weren't that good. Nowadays, anybody can create a show car finish just with just a little bit of, you know, just the right pad, right product, right tool. It's not that hard anymore. And one of the things I've noticed, and I think I've been coming out to SEMA now for 11 years, is that it used to be when I walked around, every car was swirled out. I mean, it was just like, really? Is this the best you can do? It's a show car? And now you really got to kind of look for the swirled out cars. They're still out there. That means we still got some work to do, and that's good for us.
Yep.
But so many of the cars, when you look at them, they actually look really good. And I actually like to attribute that to, again, discussion forums, bringing the knowledge level up, bringing the skill level up. I'm real excited about the IDA, the International Detail Association, getting on board with that and helping to really elevate the status of the detailing industry and detailers.
You know, Mike, you were the first detailer to really take it. You know, you've had a long career. You didn't start out on top. You know, you had to work your way up and crawl your way up. You know, scratch your way up.
Yeah.
And you know, to go from the start point to being on the TV shows and with AutoGeek, but where did you start? What do you contribute your success to?
You know, to be honest, I'd have to attribute it to my dad.
Really?
Yeah, he's always he instilled in me a work ethic to work hard, you know, and I've never been a slacker at all. I've never been without a job, And so it's almost kind of hard to understand how someone could have a job, because if the desire is in you to work, you can make it happen. But my dad started me out. My dad was a car guy. I'm a car guy. My dad was a boat guy. I'm a boat guy. My dad was a motorcycle guy. He got us kids dirt bikes. But the other day ago, I was talking to, I think it was Wayne Creaney, he was asking me how I got started. And it actually wasn't with cars, it was with boats.
Wow.
And I grew up in Oregon, and anybody that's been to Oregon knows it rains 9 months out of the year up there. And Memorial Day weekend is like the start of summer. And so I remember as a kid growing up, a couple weeks before Memorial Day weekend, I'd be like, hey, Dad, let's get the boat out. Let's get it ready to go fishing and water skiing. And it became my job to remove the oxidation, get the seats all cleaned up with some Armor All. You know, back in the day we had DuPont rubbing compound, DuPont polishing compound, Armor All, and Turtle Wax. I mean, everybody's garage had those 4 products in it, and that's how we detailed our cars. But that's kind of how I started out, was actually detailing boats. And nowadays, I work with John Graviscus on Shipshape TV, and I'm back to teaching how to detail boats.
Isn't that
so it's come full circle.
Well, you know, and it's funny because you got your start in what floats, I got my start in what flies. We end up taking and detailing cars. We're both passionate about old metal. You know, we love classics.
Yep.
So where do you see detailing going over the next several years?
Well, that's a good question. I actually get that question all the time. What do you think the future is? And one of the things I really want to see is the profession itself become recognized, and somehow through the IDA probably just elevated so it becomes more of a recognized professional industry instead of just car wash guys.
Yeah.
And part of that is just really to bring up the stature of the guys doing this hard work, because this is hard work. And just like welding's hard work, building a house is hard work, being an engineer is hard work. It's very hard work, and if you don't do it right, you're going to cause a lot of problems for the car owner. So I really want to see the professional side, the business side elevated. But as far as the industry goes, I guess what I'd really like to see, we've got all the great products coming out on the hands-on side. I'd actually really like to see paint manufacturers get their act together and come out with paints that we can work on. You know, when you talk about these self-healing paints, you can't buff on these things.
Yeah.
Why would you bring it out? If you and me can't work on it, how's the average consumer going to work on it? And so I'd really like to see the car manufacturers and the paint manufacturers get together, talk to guys like you and me, and say, hey, what is needed in a good paint job? And something that we can work on, so it's not too hard, it's not too soft, it's kind of right in the middle. And also more paint.
Yeah,
you know,
I agree.
think the industry standard is 2 mils. A 3M Post-it note is about 3 mils. So the factory finish on a car is thinner than a Post-it note. There's nothing there for us to work on. So thicker paint.
Get spooky sometimes.
It does, yeah.
You know, speaking of building detailers up, you know, SONAX, you've noticed there's a lot of our detail mafia guys up here.
Oh, yeah.
So SONAX and Flex decided this year to take things to the next level. So they have a little competition to find out who is the best of the best.
Yeah.
And they brought in 9 detailers to do live demos as their demo team. You know, that's amazing to see a big company like SONAX and a big company like Flex reach out to the little guys and help build them up. AutoGeek does that every year. You've got a big event coming up that's kind of been a staple. It's become a staple within the detailing industry. So what's going on with Detail Fest this next year?
Oh, Detail Fest is big, and this is our 10th year. So, you know, the big 10-year anniversary. And we got a lot of talent. You'll be there.
Yep.
It's a lot of talent.
Oh,
and
very little.
But it's really going to be elevated to a very high state. And first of all, let me just list the talent that's going to be there. Barry McGuire from Car Crazy.
Wow.
Wayne Creaney from Chasing Classic Cars. Dennis Gage from
Wow.
My Classic Car. Jessie Combs from All Girls Garage and her past with Chip Fuson overhauling. They're going to have Matt Still from Truck U and Bruno Massel. So he's with Truck U. His new show, Garage Squad. And of course, he's the NHR champion racing the Copo Chevrolet. So we have and then we're working on one more person, and I can't let that out of the bag yet because it's not done yet, but I think it's going to happen.
Wow.
So we have a lot of people there, and the show itself is a car show, but what's unique about it is we bring in all the manufacturers, and here's a chance for people to come and talk to the presidents, the CEO, the representatives of these companies, and face-to-face, ask them questions, tell them their concerns, even complain, and get free samples, and just have a lot of fun. And of course, then we have the big get-together Saturday night, you know, and that's going to be out of this world this year too. That's my favorite part, is actually get together. The rest for me is kind of work. Everybody else is walking around having fun. I'm actually teaching a class.
That's it. Well, just a hint. You know, he said some people come out and complain about what's happening. If you're going to complain, I probably wouldn't plan on getting free samples. Just saying. But
well, it's feedback. It's just good feedback.
It is, and it's constructive feedback, and
Exactly.
they get to interact. And this is a big show, and all those guys that you just spoke of, all the presidents and everything else, they're here too. But it's really hard to find them at this big of a show.
Yeah.
What AutoGeek does and is taken and micro that down and make it easier for our profession to go in and work with you guys.
Yeah, no, Diesel Fest is really, it's the most unique car show of its kind. And the fact that we got talent like Barry McGuire and Wayne Crean showing up at this little tiny car show in Stuart, Florida, instead of the big ones, that really says something about the caliber of the show itself. And what's going to be really cool this year is Saturdays are traditional car show, hot rods, classics. Sunday is going to be called Festival of the Beater. And so it's, rat rods and,
I love it.
Cars from the 50s and 60s that haven't been fixed up, but they're barn finds and garage finds. They still run. Maybe they might be all rusted out, but if you can drive it there, you can show it there.
Oh,
so it's
God.
going to be a lot of fun.
I love that. Well, Mike, I know you're a busy guy. To wrap up the SEMA, thanks for coming into SONAX talking with us. It was my pleasure. It's my pleasure to call you just not the world's best detailer, but a friend. So thank you, buddy.
Hey, thank you, Randy.
Take care.
Bye now.
See you guys.